couple buddies flew up to Alaska to do some ice fishing, and neither one of them had been, well, too adept at the ice fishing. When they got there, one guy was freaked out, fell through the ice, nearly froze to death. Well, the other guy was super stoked on dropping a hook. So they hired a couple of locals to take him out and show him how to fish. Turned out the guides were smoking hot twins. Best day ever. They ended up hitting it off right during the first time they drilled a hole in the ice and put the tip-up flags in. Well, that night, the friends met up at a local bar and ended up telling the others about this crazy ice fishing adventure. You know, the adventure with the hot twins. And somebody begged them to go into more detail about what went on and what went down. Well, one of the buddies said, well, I don't want to get too graphic in public, but in baseball terms, we stepped up to bat and we scored a couple home runs. Well, this old geezer at the other end of the bar heard this and flipped out. And we ended up, those people ended up nearly getting in a fight, and the bartender had to throw the old geezer out. And the two buddies asked the bartender, what's the deal with Crazy Grandpa? And the bartender replied, apparently those twins were his daughter, and he wasn't a big fan of the double entendre. Double entendre. Well, back in the hills, upstate New York, the smell of ammonia and rotten eggs and window cleaner. Who blew up the lab? But then on the other hand, a little further back in the hills, you can hear the thumping that ain't thumping and the mash that ain't pounding. Copper and corn and water, who blew up the still? Moonshine be slowing down in them there mountains. I can hear the rooster crowing and the hounds a howling. Who blew up the lab and who blew up the still? The thumping on the thumper ain't thumping. Who blew up the corn whistle?